Hey friends, it's India. I just wanted to let you know before we hop into today's episode, we are going to be talking about the It Ends With Us drama, which mentions a lot of themes along the domestic violence and intimate partner abuse line. We're not going to be talking about anything personal, and hopefully that is not triggering to talk about this as it pertains to the It Ends With Us movie and book, but I do just want to let anyone know who's listening that that is something to be aware of for today's episode. Okay, we're just gonna go for it. I cannot tell if this is focusing or not. I think I accidentally canceled out of the autofocus, but oh well. We're just gonna record. Hey y'all, welcome back, stuffers and stuffers. I need to get a good name for the people who listen to my show. I always think of the thing in Princess Diaries when it's like Lily Moshkevich with "Shut up and listen." And I'm like, what were her listeners called? Like the "and" listeners? The "shut uppers"? I'm not sure, but I also like the idea of like my little online community being like the ampersand team, because it's like "and stuff," like India and stuff. Anyway, you guys let me know what you want to be called, my faithful listeners. I am here on my office floor in my comfort spot because I'm just gonna chat while I organize my office. It is a train wreck. I will maybe slip in a few clips of what it looks like. It's pretty bad. But also right underneath me is, I'm gonna wake him up, this little guy, little Sokka. Look at him. He was sleeping and now he's awake. He's such a sweet boy. I'm gonna cuddle that boy. So, he might be joining us for a little bit. I'll get him in frame here. He might be sleeping in my lap for some of this. But he's such a faithful dude. Oh, or not. That I'm happy I'm here. And Miss Numi is right around the corner also sleeping in the sunshine. So, I'm surrounded by my cats. I made a quick TJ Maxx run to get some stuff. Let me show you my stuff. First of all, the best thing. Should I save the best for last? We'll save it for last. I'm just trying to organize my office. So I got this nice decorative box. It's pretty. It was like $5. Figured that'd be a good thing to put all of our important papers in. I have like a box for important papers, but I don't know. You always have all these papers you have to save. And then I got, I know I'm trying to be more like eco-friendly. This is not sustainable of me. A giant thing of plastic containers. But my thought was at first they looked like recycled materials, so I actually haven't. Oh, look, natural eco fibers. Okay, now I don't feel so bad. So hopefully that means that they were made from recycled things, so I don't feel terrible. $13 TJ Maxx. Thought this was pretty nice. It has little speckles in it, and that will be great for SD cards, batteries, and camera supplies that need organized, especially because I'm hitting my busiest season ever, and I really just don't want to be scrambling every time that I need my gear ready. And then I got this nice little container, not from Eco Fibers. I'm pretty sure this is just, made with carcinogens. This is just plastic. But it's a nice little bin, and with all these kittens, so many things. Like if you leave one thing on the ground, it could get scratched, stepped on, peed on. So I don't want any of my stuff to do that. And then the last thing for my TJ Maxx run, this little mushroom guy. Look how cute it is. It's a storage for whatever you want to put in there. And I think I'm going to put a little blanket so I can have it handy for the colder months when I'm working in my office. I can just pull up this little thing if I need a little cozy. So I'm excited. I'm sad though. I really thought this was like real wicker. It's definitely not. It's definitely plastic straws. Oh, high quality. Not high quality. False, but I spent $20 on it, so it's fine. Ian said it looked phallic. You can decide. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be doing this episode, and we have some juicy tea to unpack. I don't know if anyone else cares about this topic. If you don't care, you can scooch along, but I have a little bit of a perspective on the It Ends With Us drama between Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and the fact that I auditioned for this film. So I feel like I wanted to talk about it today. I'm also just very invested in celebrity gossip, let's just be honest. So we're going to play the theme song and jump in. Alright y'all, as we do this, you're going to hear me snapping my scissors in the background so I can get this rolling. Okay, so the thing is, It Ends With Us is a book by Colleen Hoover. Who read the book? Let me know in the comments. I read the book because I, as much as I try to be independent and artsy, I, like everyone else, like knowing what's happening. And when I see a book go viral or hear a podcast or a movie go viral, I want to watch it. I want to read it. I want to partake. So I read the book. And I thought overall it was fine. It was just fine. I didn't really like Colleen Hoover's writing. I didn't really like the super sexy stuff in it. Like the erotica was a little much for a theologian like me. But it's fine. And so I was like, okay, like this is what it is. I liked the storyline overall, but I feel like her dialogue was just like not that exciting to me. I specifically remember this one paragraph where she like kind of writes like juvenile style, so like very like amateur sentences and just matter of fact, like things as they're happening. Like, I stand up, I walk across the room, I'm looking out the window for any sign of Atlas. My mind races back to me writing about Ellen DeGeneres in a journal. And so, whatever. But I remember specifically this one line where she says, like, I squirt some lotion on my hand. I rub it in. And it wasn't even a sexy part. It was just her saying, I squirt some lotion on my hand. And I'm like, you should not have to be using the phrases squirt and some. It's just like the word very when you're writing. It's not descriptive. It's not adding a lot to anything. And there are so many other words. You could just, I don't know, say anything else. Like, I applied lotion, or why do we need to be talking about lotion? Like, why can't we talk about something even more descriptive? Like, the smell of it, the texture of it, the way it made you feel, the calming moment. Like, why is it like I squirt some lotion on my hand and then I take a bubble bath? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not trying to slam on Colleen Hoover, but that's just my take on her writing. It wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but I did like the book overarching story, you know, when it comes to a romance-ish book and a book about a serious topic. So I was like, hey, this did a pretty good job of painting the characters out to be real humans, which, if you're not familiar, the book is very heavily talking about domestic partner abuse, or I think now it's called, like, intimate partner abuse. And so I was like, this is a pretty serious topic, but I like that in the middle of this, she's still making the men that inflict these kind of things feel like humans, because in real life they are humans. And then that means you have all these complicated emotions that come up with that. You don't always want to, you know, paint someone out entirely to be the bad guy. And so she was making a dynamic case basically for, hey, this is why it's hard for women to leave. This is why some women don't leave. This is why some men are the way that they are. This is why some change, why some never change. You get the idea. And so I appreciated that aspect of things. So when I heard that they were making a movie, I got really excited about it, because I was like, ooh, like, you know, the writing itself was nothing to write home about, but maybe the movie's gonna be good, and of course I'll see it. Like, I think that'd be cool. Then they announced the cast, and they announced Blake Lively to act and Justin Baldoni to direct. And Justin Baldoni is one of my favorite Hollywood people. He is an actor. I have seen him as an extra in, like, I'm pretty sure Friends or something. Like, he was literally like a waiter in one of these sitcoms, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like Justin Baldoni. But he's mostly known for his role as Rafael Solano from Jane the Virgin, which is a really fun, quirky telenovela that was on CW a couple years back, and I watched it in college and loved it. It was one of my favorite shows, and still may be one of my favorite shows if I'm thinking about it. It's just like quirky and fun and silly and sexy and just like a great show. It touched on a lot of serious topics, a lot that I haven't seen done in the media before about like faith, religion, abstinence, sexuality, whatever. And I liked their take on things. I just thought it was really fresh. So, and I love Gina Rodriguez. So, I am a big Justin Baldoni fan, and when I saw that he's not only playing Ryle in the It Ends With Us movie, but he's also directing it, and his studio, Wayfair Studios, is making the film. So I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm so invested, and Blake Lively's in it, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, like, sign me up. I am hooked. And so I'm like kind of following along with things, sharing my thoughts with people on like, ooh, like, did you like the book? Did you not? Are we going to see the movie or not? And then Wayfair Studios announces that they are looking to cast someone as young Lily Bloom. So Blake Lively's character in flashback scenes, she has to look at least 10 years younger kind of thing. So at least like 17, 18 years old. And I don't know if I look 17 or 18 years old, but I don't think I do. But I was like, I look enough like, you know, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl. I could pass as young Blake Lively with the right makeup or something. I don't know. But I heard that they were, like, doing this, and they were like, hey, open casting. If you look anything like Blake Lively, if you have honey blonde hair, blue eyes, and are a Caucasian female that could pass as 17 or 18, send in your audition tapes. And they were posting this everywhere. Justin Baldoni and Colleen Hoover did a specific, like, casting call post, and I was like, what the heck? I'm an actress. I could audition for this. Let's just try. How often do you get to say that you auditioned for a movie like this? So, and I asked my acting coach at one point, and I was like, how young can I play? And am I a professional actor? Can I audition? She's like, once you've gotten paid to act in something, you're a professional actor. And I was like, I can say that I have, which is great. So I auditioned for it, I think, February of 2023. I sent it in, crossed my fingers, prayed, whatever. And I think my audition was fine, but like, I wasn't super proud with it. Now looking at it over a year and some like later, I'm like, oh, I could do that so much better. So it's fine. Like, I never heard anything back from that. Never got a call back, which is completely fine because Isabella Ferreira, I think, or Isabella Ferrer, I don't know her last name, but the gal that they ended up casting as young Lily Bloom looks identical to Blake Lively and did a phenomenal job. So it's like, no-brainer kind of thing. Like, of course, you found the right person. I'm not mad in any way. But, you know, just because of that experience, because I read the book, because I like both of these actors who are leading the film, I was already invested on this whole project, right? Then I think last summer, 2023, as they started filming and the writer's strikes were happening, just the little online forums and communities that I was following that are about the It Ends With Us film. Also, look at all these glares on my camera. It's kind of magical. The people on the internet were like starting to roast the project because of the clips that were being shown of Blake's outfits on set. Like, in character, dressed as Lily Bloom. Her outfits were, like, pretty weird. So people were just roasting it. They were like, this is not what we wanted. This is not what we thought this was going to look like. Like, let's boycott the film. And at the same time, the writer's strike was going on in LA, where all these creatives in Hollywood were saying, hey, we don't want AI to write our scripts, and until we know that our jobs are protected, we're not going to come back to work. So all that's going down, and It Ends With Us production says, hey, we're pausing right now. And people literally thought that it was because they were complaining about Blake's wardrobe, you know, on set, that they, the internet, stopped the production. I was like, no. It was because of the writer's strikes, and because most of those sets needed writers, and everything had to slow down because of that. So, you can imagine, I mean, I wasn't on the set ever, but you can imagine how it probably would have affected their schedule, how that affected, you know, if they were in the middle of filming, like, and there was no writers allowed to be on set, like, they probably would have had to improv some things, or make some interesting choices, or rewrite things with just the actors and directors on set. Lots of things could have happened because of that. We don't know. But I find it interesting because now that the film is out, I think combos of reactions are happening, and I just think it's interesting, like, everyone's reaction to things at the moment. So I am going to kind of walk through, if you don't know anything, and you're like, what are you talking about? If you don't know anything, I'll just kind of walk through, like, the gist of what's happening, what I thought of the actual movie. Maybe I'll do the reverse. Ian and I did see the movie, so I'll talk about my reaction to the movie, and then what the reactions of people online are about everything involved with the project. And then at the end of this episode, we'll change it up and I'll just talk about some things that I'm into right now. So, I took notes because I have a lot of thoughts on this. Well, first of all, you know, I thought it might get canceled because of her outfits. I thought it might get postponed because of the writer's strike. Then we find out the release date's coming. It's in August. So I'm like, yay, okay. I'm not thinking a ton about this. Like, this isn't like a movie or book that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to see. Like, that was me with the Hunger Games. That is me with Harry Potter. That's me with, like, certain things, right? Like, there's very few projects that if that got turned into a movie, they'd be like, oh wow, like, I'm invested. This was not one of those, but I was like, of course I want to see it. Like, I just want to see the final product. I love watching films. We're a film couple, if you couldn't tell. Okay, it's getting worse. The camera. Are you seeing my eye? What if I just, I don't know. Scooch it back? Maybe there's just like a drop in the sensor. Hold. Pause. I don't even have a cloth anywhere. And I'm not even wearing anything that's clothy. Oh wait, here's one. Alright, sorry if you're listening to this. I'm cleaning my camera lens. It just looks so fluffy right now. There is a drop. There we go. That did it. Okay, we're back. So, it's still here. It's literally fine. I'm gonna have to clean this thing later. This is not my photography camera. This is my vlogging camera. There's a difference, so it's not a huge deal, but it was still pretty expensive, so we want to take care of this. Okay. Alright, sorry for all that, guys. I think we're okay. Yeah! Alright, now that I'm back, we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes. We saw the movie on Value Tuesday at Marcus. If you didn't know, it's like $6 a ticket, which is great. So, we go to the movie, watch it. First thing I notice, in the opening, well, one of the opening scenes is the rooftop scene. There'll be spoilers in here, so if you have not seen this movie but want to, maybe you should skip. Rooftop scene, if it ends with us. I just noticed it felt really natural, but almost too natural, and it felt very improv. Very improv. There was lots of giggles, there was lots of Blake Lively shots, there was lots of giddy, exciting, I'm sorry, oh my gosh, like, it almost felt too improv that I was like, oh, like, that's a little weird. I just haven't seen either of these actors, very seasoned actors, knowing that Justin's the director who's in this initial scene. I'm like, this just felt a little interesting, kind of different. I don't think I've ever seen them in a movie where, like, this is the case, but okay, we'll just keep going. And then we get into the movie, and I did like it overall. I think they did actually better than I was expecting, given all the hoopla and my take on the book of it being like, oh, a serious topic and the writing's a little amateur. But they did a good job, and I really want to credit that to Justin as well as the other people in the production team. But as it's going, a couple of details get cut out, which of course they do, like the restaurant name ended up being Roots, and it was supposed to be Bibs, Better in Boston. There was a magnet that Atlas and Lily had when they were little, and then that was supposed to be on her fridge, which was one of the reasons why Ryle was upset. They cut all that out. She had journals in the books that were very heavily played, like she was writing these letters to Ellen DeGeneres, basically, and that was a really strong theme. That's kind of how we find out all of her memories with Atlas, and they cut the whole thing about journals out and instead just showed a couple flashbacks in the movie, which is fine. Like, that stuff has to happen. But I just found it kind of interesting, how much they cut. But then also the things that they put were also interesting. Like, Lily Bloom was supposed to be this struggling florist following her dream in Boston, and kind of caught between two worlds, basically, of a new romance with this sexy neurosurgeon named Ryle, and an old romance with her boyfriend, her first kind of love when she was a teenager was a guy who didn't have a house and kind of was camping out at the abandoned house next door, Atlas. He ends up being kind of her, her guiding light and her North Star, and someone that she like sticks up for, and he sticks up for her and all that kind of stuff in the past. So when he comes back into her life in the future, she's like, oh, love triangle. But she's supposed to be like a struggling artist. She just lost her dad. She was not close with him, so I'm thinking he didn't pay for much, at least in the books. Like, she's on her own. She doesn't want to go back and move home with her mom. She wants to be independent. She has no siblings. So if you think of a struggling florist making her own in Boston with no parental monetary support, you can probably infer that she does not have bright red Valentino boots or sparkly, shiny Swarovski crystal wardrobe pieces. You know what I mean? Or like designer handbags. And in the film, I mean, I will say, like, the styling came together way better than I was thinking, given the, like, screen grabs we were seeing circulating on the internet, which also just goes to show, like, how much we don't know. But, like, overall, it read as, like, she was, like, cool and hip and artsy and wealthy all of a sudden, and went from, I don't even know if we saw ever once, like, a shot of her apartment before she got in with Ryle. I might be making that up, but like I don't even ever think we saw where she lived. It was just like Ryle's rooftop, the flower shop, and then boom, she lives with this like very wealthy neurosurgeon, and then the next place, you know. I don't know, it's just like interesting things. Like they didn't show the struggle of a young, aspiring like business owner florist. They just kind of showed her arriving and all of a sudden like was wearing the right stuff and had the right shop and somehow brought this all together with no money and getting coffees and dating this very rich guy and going out to nice dinners. I don't know. It just kind of bothers me when you think like, I'm an artist, I'm in the art world, I'm a business owner, and it would be nice to show the struggle, not just the success of these people. Like, the movie's not supposed to necessarily be in the rom-com camp, if you're asking Justin Baldoni, but they end up trying to push it in the rom-com camp. But even if you do, think of the rom-com protagonist you see. She's like a little ditzy, usually working really hard, and it's showing a lot of the coming home exhausted at the end of a long day, you know, and having a messy apartment and like your feet up on the couch and you're drinking a cold latte and your life's kind of in shambles. You know what I mean? Like those girl protagonists in the rom-coms. I'm not organizing while I'm talking, but I should be. That's kind of, I think if they were going to go that route, they could have pushed heavier on the, like, I'm figuring my shit out kind of character, and they didn't. They just kind of had this, like, you know, already put together, wearing the right thing, doing the right thing, saying the right thing, shop owner, cutesy flower owner, oh, look, I'm in love now. I don't know. I'm not really saying that to say anything bad about Blake's performance. I think her acting was really great, and I think she did a good job playing the character of Lily, but just something that I think was interesting with the writing. And on that note, I said that the original first scene was feeling very improv. A few other moments in the movie felt a little more free-flowing improv. I do think Blake and Justin did a really good job acting. I think they did a nice job making it feel like a real relationship, hitting some of these walls and coming through the other side in a way that didn't sound, you know, like stamp of approval from the political correctness campaign. I think like it sounded really honest and like real conversations you would have. But yeah, I just also found I found it interesting thinking that those writers were on strike when they were filming, so much so that they had to stop filming at one point. And I'm wondering if that first scene, which is now rumored to be written by Ryan Reynolds, or rewritten, I should say, if that first scene was improv and if that was a product of the strike. Was, hey, no one else is on set, let's just pull in anyone who's got a pencil and a brain and say, hey, you know, Blake's husband's here, let's have him, you know, write something. I don't know. So I'm not sure what really happened there. But yeah, I do think that the timing of filming affected things. But yeah, anyway, like I said, the whole film was fine overall. I think there was a lot of medium shots. That's just me being picky. If I was a director, I would have done a couple more. There was one, you know, sequence of probably 25 shots in a row that were all like, medium, here, I'll do it. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Oh, I don't know. I didn't mean to hurt you. Oh no. You know what I mean? Like medium or extreme close-ups. And then finally, after 20 minutes, we get one far away that's a full body of her. And still, there's only like an inch, excuse me, of room before you hit the screen. So if I was the director or an editor, I would have done that differently. But then we get into what I think is the real issue here. Justin Baldoni, who acted as Ryle, is the director. He's amazing. I've loved him in Jane the Virgin as an actor. Then he did 5 Feet Apart, 6 Feet Apart, which is a movie about the, two teenagers in love with a terminal illness. I haven't even seen it, but just the fact that, like, that's one of the first films that he invests in and, like, shows his character, and the kind of, like, media he wants to make is this, like, really, like, impactful kind of stuff. Emotional, for a cause, something that raises awareness, raises funds for these causes. So I am like, I really appreciate him and his artistry and just his heart behind a lot of these things. I follow him on social media. I want to be friends with him and his wife and family. And I think he had a very well-intended, honest vision of what this film could be and really wanted to step into an artistic portrayal of intimate partner abuse, of domestic abuse situations, and showing like how bad it can get, how good it can get, how it can feel like gaslighting, how it can have all these layers of should I stay but they love me, but should I go for my safety, but why would I go if they're here and they're apologizing and we're safe. I think he wanted to explore that, and I think he was robbed of his true vision of the movie. It felt a little like Draft 2 to me. It felt like it could have been stronger in some areas. I wanted more tension in certain areas. I wanted more drama in some areas. And I think the choice of, spoiler alert, I think the choice of Lily's character to leave seemed way too easy in the film. In the book, I think it was a little more accurate and a little more tension. But in the film, it felt like, oh no, my husband abused me, time to get in the car and drive to my ex-boyfriend's house. Or, sorry, kitchen. I was just like, wait a second, like, what? Like, show me more tension. Show me more of the struggle here. Show me even more of her, like, being, that sounds so bad. Show me more of her being abused. Like, the way they portrayed it, you'll see if you know the movie, like, it just didn't feel like that was as dramatic and also as impactful as it was in the book and what that character really went through. It kind of was like, oh, we had a fight and somehow he's back at home sleeping and just let me leave in the middle of the night. I don't know, like, it didn't seem very realistic is what I'm trying to say. I don't want to see more abuse. I'm just saying, like, if we're going to show these sensitive materials on the screen, on the big screen, we should like show that character going through everything that a victim of intimate partner abuse has to deal with, and also their escape, so we can root for their escape. I don't know. You know what I mean? Okay, words. What am I doing? I'm gonna try to organize while I'm talking. Okay. But then, so that's what I thought about the movie. Then we start to see everything coming out on the internet. Granted, I'm whopping my timeline a little bit because we saw the film probably 4 or 5 days after its opening night release, and I had seen some stuff, coming out online about, hey, this is what's happening, or here's all the drama. So I kind of knew a couple of those things going into it, but I was like, yeah, I'm still going to see the movie. Here's the tea, though. If you don't know anything about this drama, then I'm going to overview all of it, but it's everywhere, so I'm sure you know some stuff. Basically, it was rumored that Ryan Reynolds wrote that first scene. It was rumored that Blake and Justin had some rift because they were not seen doing hardly any interviews about the film together, any press events together. And like in the entertainment world, when you're an actor or director, you are on a panel with all your co-stars and the director often, like going to premieres, going to the US premiere, the London premiere, you're going to go to red carpets, you're going to take a group photo together. Like, that's just what happens. That's normal at any budget size of a film that has a premiere. So where was that with this one? Like, there was no Justin and Blake hugging, there was no Justin and Blake taking photos, and he's not only the director, because I would say maybe, you know, sometimes for directors that's just not the thing. He was also her co-star. He was the other guy and the love interest in this film. They had no PR time together. They had no interviews where they were cutesy and joking. She had them with the guy who played Atlas. She had them with the girl who played younger her, which could have been me. Just kidding. But it could have. She had them with everyone else. She had lots of photo ops with Colleen Hoover, the author of the book, and her husband, and even Hugh Jackman, who just randomly showed up because he's besties with Ryan, because they also had a movie premiering a week apart. But there was no Justin and Blake. And I find that a little suspicious, and so my little spidey senses were tingling. I was like, I wonder what's happening with that. So I talked to my friend who's really observant with PR, and she's in a PR role, and she observes this stuff all the time with the royal family and likes to make comments about it online. And so I was like, ooh, I'm gonna ask this girl what she thinks. And she was like, honestly, I think it's a show. I think they just want to cause some drama online. They know people are going to talk about this. I think it's kind of a stunt. So it's easy to say, hey, no one take a picture with Justin. We'll just kind of pretend like there's some beef going on just to stir up the internet. It's harmless. I was like, oh, okay, I could totally see that take. And that's the first time I've ever heard that take. But then it came out that none of these co-stars were following Justin Baldoni on social media anymore. He follows all of them, but none of them, including Colleen Hoover, Blake Lively, etc., follow him. And none of these people were taking photos with Justin. And so I was like, now that's even more interesting. Because it's one thing to, like, say, let's stage a reverse photo op situation and pretend like there's a rumor going on. It's another to be like, let's have all the actors not even talk to the director, not take a photo with him, not follow him on social media, and kind of give him the cold shoulder. He's the director of the film. Like, all of the success from this should be stemming off of his vision. So then it comes out after that, like, there's just, all this is internet rumors, by the way, no official people are saying any of this. Then it comes out that Ryan Reynolds, rewrote that whole first thing, and that the final cut of the movie was commissioned by Blake Lively, and it wasn't Justin's cut of the movie. Again, rumors. But that's kind of the story that I'm hearing all the time. And I'm like, oh, wow. So, like, they must have had a creative rift, and they didn't get along with something, and now she's not happy with it. So she commissioned and paid the editors to make a second cut, or paid some editors, I'm not sure if it was the original editors, to make another draft. And then it says, Justin and all the parties gave it an approval, and that's what's in films. But, again, Justin's the director, Blake Lively was a producer, so I don't know what that production role means to her, but from my experience, producers help fund and maybe have final say on certain aspects of the movie, but in no universe are they overriding the director and saying, no, I don't like your final version, I'm gonna commission a second final version, and that's what we roll with? Like, I don't know how much she was funding, and maybe she was like, executive producer, but she wasn't labeled executive producer, so I don't know. But anyway, I just thought that was super interesting. So now we get into all the PR drama, and to this date, on this date of the recording, the most recent thing I know about this drama directly is that the It Ends With Us social medias have not used Blake in any recent promotion since all this big drama came out, and that Justin Baldoni has hired the PR crisis team that helped Johnny Depp against Amber Heard. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. And it's big because this man is an independent indie film creator. He's an independent director. Wayfair Studios is his company that he and his buddy started. Like, we're talking about someone who went from a sideline, extras actor to a lead in a repeating TV series to directing a feature film. You know what I mean? Like, he's not Steven Spielberg. He's not like one of the big wigs. He's not backed by Warner Brothers or Netflix or any of these huge houses with money to spare. He's like an independent filmmaker and operating from that. So, like, this movie, I think I read the budget was like $25 million, and they made $80 million in the opening weekend alone. That's huge. That's enormous. And for an independent film, you should be able to celebrate, be happy with that, you know, share that joy. I don't know why my camera looks so atrocious at this point. Share that joy with everyone, though. Like, that should be a huge win as an independent artist. And instead, I feel like he had to turn around and take whatever amount of money that he actually got to keep that wasn't, you know, given to Blake or another one of the producers. He had to turn around and spend that on a Price's PR team because of drama that I don't think this man ever wanted to happen. Now, I don't want to badmouth Blake Lively. I don't want to badmouth the women behind this, because this is a story about domestic violence and abuse, and that does mean the women are, you know, typically the victims of that, and this story would not have happened without amazing women like Blake and Colleen. I want to be besties with Blake one day. Like, I want to believe that her and Taylor Swift and the tribe of girlies are awesome. Like, that sisterhood sounds so fun. But also, I can't help shake the feeling that while all this PR is going on about a movie about domestic violence, the only person who's talking about domestic violence is the director, is Justin Baldoni. He had many interviews over the last several months, including from when this film, you know, first started with casting calls. He talked about his heart behind this, why he wanted to take on this role as director and as an actor, his heart to bring Colleen's visions to life. And he has been championing on survivors of domestic abuse, showing resources how to donate to these places that, you know, prevent this situation from happening, that help fund safe houses for women, all these amazing resources. Justin Baldoni is the only person who is talking about this at all. There is not one word on a red carpet interview that I have seen, on a PR thing or anything, from Blake Lively, who again is the leading lady in the movie about this victim of domestic abuse. I'm also going to just pause here for a second, not only to take a quick sip of water, but also to share an alternative view. Okay, so I think there are two things happening to what we're seeing. The main is, hey, Blake Lively is failing to step up for domestic abuse survivors. She's failing to see everything that her character was and had to offer. She's not really being an advocate for the very thing that her character experienced. We're mad, we're upset, how dare she? Then the other pocket of people are going, I don't think that's an actor's job. And also, you know, even if it was, they're not mental health professionals. They don't really have to do this. Who cares? It's just Hollywood. So I would like to kind of meet those two in the middle and kind of just paint another scenario here. Imagine you're Blake Lively. You're a very successful girly pop in the entertainment industry. You have been in this industry for a couple decades now. You've done things like Gossip Girl. You have a family. You're married to a successful actor, Ryan Reynolds, who also has another movie premiering weeks away from yours. And in the middle of being a mom of 4 children, being best friends with Taylor Swift, owning a soccer stadium with your husband, again, celebrity hunk, who's in every movie ever right now, championing his work, you're also filming a probably smaller budget than what you're used to film, an indie film, and trying to do everything you can to feel like you can do it all. Like, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're an actress, you're a business owner. She has Betty Buzz and Betty Boos, and now Hair by Blake, or Blake Brown Beauty or whatever. And so I can imagine, if you're Blake Lively, there's a lot going on in your world, and when you have to sit down through a press interview where someone's just saying, oh, what's your favorite color, and like, how do you like to style your flowers, she's probably like, dude, I'm exhausted. I've got a lot going on, and yeah, I filmed this film a couple months ago, but like, I feel like for a lot of actors, PR is their least favorite thing. They're like, let me do my job and then go home. Like, I don't want to be talking about silly little questions to give Vanity Fair something to talk about. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to like put myself in the mind of Blake Lively. And so when you're being asked these questions and rush in and out of like glam appointments to get your hair done and your makeup done for a new event, and then you have to go this way and that way and try to talk to these girls and be friendly with everyone, but also like have all these responsibilities. I can just imagine that you're not always thinking like, what's this event for again? Like, am I supposed to talk about something? Or, you're probably just living in the moment. And so you're going to answer the questions with the first thing on your mind and be talking about things that you can actually think about, things you have control over. A lot of the time, these celebrities don't have control over what they're, doing the next week or where they are, where they're flying to. They're just like, oh yeah, like my hair, or I love this dress, look what I'm wearing, isn't that pretty? Or like my family or my kids or my husband. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's okay to extend some grace to these very busy people who we don't know what their lives are like. It's not like every night they're even going home to see their loved ones and go to bed at a normal time. They're being shipped off and flying around the world for these premieres, wearing clothes that may not fit, having fittings all day, and then sitting in a hair and makeup chair for hours and hours and hours, and then getting shoved out in front of hundreds of cameras with people with microphones saying, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I don't know. I think we could extend a little more grace there. And at the same time, because I'm a marketing person, marketing girly, I think actors have every right to have their own lines, have their own, like brands, like own businesses, and do other things other than just acting. And I think it's really smart to diversify your income portfolio. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with Blake having a hair care line, alcohol line, a non-alcohol line. All that stuff is cool. She's also besties with Taylor Swift, who's kind of known as like a marketing girly, so it's fine. Like, I think all that's fine. But here's the big but. I think you do owe the project that you are serving at the time the general the general respect and like ability to advocate for or against certain topics, if your name is on something, right? Does that make sense? I know that's like a weird way of saying that. Basically, like, you should know enough about the project that you are tied to, starring in, that when you're in public, you could be able to articulate decent responses that might be good for the goal of the project or the cause that you're trying to be associated with. So I don't think she needs to be a therapist. I don't think it's her job to answer everything correctly all the time. No one's going to do that the right way. But apples and oranges kind of thing, like you notice, like, Justin Baldoni, who acted and directed and also probably has a very busy schedule, also probably has a lot going on, also has multiple projects, a family, a spouse, whatever. He's able to talk about the meat and potatoes of this project. Like, hey, we made a movie about, survivors of intimate partner abuse, and hopefully we're inspiring people to get out of these situations. We want anyone who feels like they're a Lily Bloom to feel empowered to gain the courage to leave, but also for the men who cause this kind of trauma to reevaluate themselves and stop the cycle in their own lives. He's being amazing about all of this, as he should, because he's the director. But also it's like, okay, well, if it's possible for an actor-director to say these things and know how important and how sensitive this topic is, why aren't we seeing that from the leading lady as well? So that's the but. I think we can kind of say, hey, well, if one person is super busy, that's excusable. But here's another super busy person who's kind of, at least able to articulate a few sentences that makes it feel like, oh, okay, like this person really cares about the severity of what we're talking about. And also, so I think like Blake has failed a couple times to not speak up for the very people that she portrays. And also, I don't think it's an actor's job to have to, always be and embody that role all the time. Like, I'm like, what did you guys expect? Like, I don't know, like, what did you want her to, like, only ever be down and sad? And, like, people are accusing her of, oh, we're just having flowers everywhere, and, like, you're getting all dressed up and glammed up to promote a movie about this. And I'm like, well, she's also maybe being smart and saying not every survivor of intimate partner abuse, is just that. They're just a victim of this scenario. Like, no one wants to say the worst thing that happened to you is now your identity forever. So what do you want her to do? Like, people also have this phrase called method dressing. So like we saw this last year with the Barbie movie a ton. When you're in a film that has certain themes, when you're now on the red carpet as yourself, not just the actor portraying a role, but now an actor in real life, they're like, oh, method dress like you were in the movie, or dress in ways that resembles the movie. So Margot Robbie last summer, every single time she stepped out was in something relating to pink, Barbie, nostalgic, doll. Like every single outfit she was wearing in the public for these press tours had something to do with her character. So I think that's the expectation that people started putting on Blake. And of course, Blake is a girly like all of us, and she's like, I'm not gonna miss an opportunity to dress up like a flower-loving, artsy girl. I'm gonna wear my florals, I'm gonna wear my sparkles, I'm gonna be artsy. You're allowed to, you're allowed to do that. But for some reason, people had an issue with that because they're saying we're glamorizing domestic violence this way. And I'm like, I don't think anyone's glamorizing it. Like, again, she's an actress portraying a role of someone who went through that, as well as many, many other things that domestic, violence survivors go through. But I do agree that there's some, level of sophistication we should have with handling that topic. I think a better way to say it is you can still dress up for the red carpet for the movie you're in, regardless of the topic of it. Like, you're not gonna star in a really serious, sad movie and not dress up on the red carpet and wear really sad clothes. Like, you're allowed to like dress up. But then I would say the caveat would be like, at least also stand up for some of those good values the movie's trying to talk about, advocate for the antithesis. I don't know, like advocate for some of these things. And I think that's where the failure happened, in my perspective. Yeah. That's my thoughts. Can you tell I've thought about this? There's also many other things going on in the same time. I guess there was a couple launch parties and like the covers of Colleen Hoover's books, which again, It Ends With Us. The It is being domestic violence. The covers of her books are like pink and maroon and beige, and then there's a blue one for another book or whatever. They did like a nail care line, like nail polishes that match the covers of the books, and I'm like, that's a little weird, because like It Ends With Us, like domestic violence ends with you, and also get your nails done in the color that matches the book about domestic violence. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some of that ickiness. There's also the fact that I guess Blake's Betty Boo's line sponsored one of the launch parties for the screening or something, and they had a gin it what ends with us, or gin ends with it. I don't know. They had a drink named after the It Ends With Us movie, and someone pointed out on TikTok, hey, domestic violence typically is tied with alcohol abuse. Do we think this wasn't very well thought through to name an alcoholic drink after the book title? Like, there's some of those insensitivities where I think people forgot the substance of the book, the contents of the book, what Colleen was trying to talk about, what Justin was trying to talk about all along, and just thought, ooh, what a cute marketing idea. Let's have a drink named after domestic violence. Cheers! Like, are we using our brains? So anyway, I do think I see both sides to it. I'm not trying to paint Blake or Justin in a all good or all bad light. I don't know what happened. Like, as much as I love Justin Baldoni and want to stand by that man, I've never met him in real life. And you just don't know. It might say something that every single one of those cast members doesn't follow him. Maybe there was some bad behavior. It's also rumored that Blake Lively said he fat-shamed her on set, and that's the reason for all the drama, and that he held a kiss too long in a scene. And I guess his response was that he didn't fat shame her, but he had a back injury. He's a very fit guy, and just when they knew he had to pick her up for a scene, he asked his personal trainer on set how best to lift her, how much she weighed, because of his back injury, and how to hold her for the scene. That's literally it. That's literally it. And I believe that that's true. Like, I believe that, things can get misconstrued. And of course, like, if you don't know someone and maybe they've never worked together, or if she didn't trust him for whatever reason, like, and you see her, you see a guy whispering in the corner to his personal trainer saying, hey, how much does she weigh? How do I lift her? Of course, that could rub you the wrong way, but that's all you have to do is just communicate, talk it out, and say, I'm so sorry, like, I got offended by this. What did you mean? I don't know. Do I need to go on set and make things better, guys? Just let me know, because I'm happy to. But yeah, that's kind of the drama. I guess I just hope that it all works out, especially for the underdog. I think that's who I'm thinking about right now, is like the younger actors who had a really great opportunity to be in this movie. I just hope their performances don't get overshadowed by all this drama. I hope that Justin can be okay, can continue to make movies, because he seems like a great guy who has really, really good intentions, a pure heart. And I just feel like he's one of the good guys in Hollywood, and there doesn't seem to be that many of them, so I really hope that his name and credits and credentials don't get squashed in the middle of very, very wealthy, very established, actors like Blake and Ryan Reynolds. But yeah. Anyway, that's my spiel. This has gone on way too long. Where's my phone, though? I want to tell you what I'm into right now. Oh my gosh, 50 minutes? What? So, let's chat about what I'm into right now. I just think it's fun to do these once in a while because it's the India and Stuff podcast. So now that was the stuff. Now it's time for the and India. We're doing it backwards today. I currently am into salads. Tonight on the menu we are doing a steak, peach, goat cheese, and avocado salad, which I'm very excited about. Never tried it before, but it sounds great. I'm also into kittens in my pocket, in my room, hanging out with me all the time. I've been snuggling with him. I haven't seen Spoon in a while. I hope he's not in the dryer. That's always a fear, huge fear of mine, is that I'll accidentally dry a cat or wash a cat. I am into, right now, the Crime Junkies podcast. I started binging it over the weekend while I was editing. Addicted. I don't know what it's called. I think it's like dark. I don't know. It feels like something dark when you're like super interested to like true crime. But I think, honestly, as women, you have to be proactive. And I'm interested in that. So give Crime Junkies a listen. I'm also, this is so bad, I'm interested in this podcast called Megamaniacs because it is specifically exposing a lot of these really dark things that happen at a particular church, particular mega church, that I used to go to for most of my entire life, up until I was 19. So, it's not the greatest thing that I'm into it, so I don't know. I think it's super interesting because I was a part of that. But I don't know. Listen to that if you want, I guess. Okay, I'm also into sleeveless tops, even moving into fall. I like a big sweater with shorts, or I like the sleeveless with the long pants. I'm wearing neither right now. I'm wearing overalls. I'm also into more color this fall. I love a good neutral, but I'm just really trying to increase the saturation in my wardrobe. I'm into sugar cinnamon lattes or Cubanos with oat milk. I've been making those at home recently. Look at Numi. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. I'm into getting a little sun time every day. Biking places. Recently we took our bikes down to get ice cream, rode around. It was super fun. I cannot believe summer is almost over, but I'm really hoping to get a few more like longer bike rides in, like bike to go get food, bike to run errands. I just kind of wish I lived in a place where you could do that more. I'm into miso soup, because I love soup, but mostly miso soup. And I thought I had another one, but I don't. I guess those are the things that I'm into. Obviously, I guess I'm into the, marketing drama and the celebrity, the little hot goss going on in the celebrity world. Yeah, I don't know. I like gossip that's public. I don't like talking smack about people. I don't like that gossip, but I love the drama of like, what's happening and what's the right side of justice. Like, I could see myself being in a PR role at some point, or like a criminal justice advocate. All right, this has gone on way too long. I hope you have a great day, and my next episode is going to be juicy as well. It's going to be your drama, your tea. I'm going to be spilling the tea that you guys share with me anonymously in your first date and first kiss stories. So tune in for that. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!